Good evening, everybody. Hi. I think we're about to start this evening's webinar. Nice to see you all coming on. And welcome again to another one run by Sri Tattva, very kindly hosts us for these webinars. Louis, you can see some thumbnails there. Louis is running the technical side of this event. We're a little bit dodgy because the connection over here is a little bit weak. I'm over in France, but Louis is in Spain, and the other lady you can see on the screen is Pooja. Pooja is going to be doing the demonstration this evening, and she's one of our teachers from the Art of Wholesome Eating course. So we're now doing them online, and we have the privilege of having her to do that this evening. So let's get started on fasting. I'm going to screen share because I'm going to use a PowerPoint. So give me a second just to pull that up.
Yeah, if you give me 1 minute, Anne, welcome everybody to the webinar, Ayurveda's approach to fasting. So I'm sure everybody has been on Zoom now. If this is your first time, don't worry, very easy. So the chat will be our main way to interact, right? And if you want to comment something very important or a question that you have, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can put it in the chat, and at the end we will have a Q&A, okay? Space for all the answers. What else? If you want to have a view of everybody in the room, it feels more close and connected. On top right you have the gallery view option. And welcome, enjoy. I leave you with Anne Revington, the director for the Ayurveda Mother and Infant project and NGO. So a lot of wisdom, experience, Ayurvedic knowledge from many years ago, but brought to that can be useful for day-to-day rhythm of life of today's, right? So I leave you with Anne and later with Pooja. So anything, I'm here for you, okay? You can write to me.
Cheers, Louis. Thank you. Okay, so let me hope I can get this on now. Right. Okay. Were you going to spotlight me, Louis? So we don't have quite so many outside to see.
Done.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it seems very appropriate that we are talking about fasting today because we're actually halfway through one of the main fasting periods for the Vedic tradition. We're right in the middle of which is a very beautiful time of the year when we turn inwards and use food to help us do that, to take us away from our senses basically, and to settle into ourselves and refresh. So we're right in doing and enjoying it. So the talk I'm going to give you this evening is fasting from an Ayurvedic point of view. There are many cultures out there or in the world that do fast. There's Ramadan, for instance, where they do 30 days fast, where they fast from morning till sunrise to sunset for 30 days. There's many others. The Catholic religion has fasting in Lent. I remember when I was about 10, I decided to give sugar up for fasting during that. I did take the sugar out of my tea. That's what I wanted to do, but instead I ate a biscuit with it that was sweet. So I think I really did it properly. But I never went back to sugar in tea, actually. That was the funny thing. And I did give up the biscuits, sort of. Right. Anyway, fasting has all different connotations for us. That was one reason why I asked you when I sent my little reminder about this program going out, what your feelings about fasting are. What does it bring up in you? Do you think you're going to enjoy it, or do you tend to put it off till tomorrow because you don't like the idea of it? You know, none of us have actually put our attention on fasting and what it can actually do for us, how it can be so important in our lives. So that's what I'm going to talk about to you today, about how that just impacts us all. I've got to move my screen on. Right, okay, so successful fasting. How do we do that? What about? Wait a minute, no. So in a nutshell, for Ayurveda, the aim is to feel both physically and mentally and clear in the mind at the end of whatever we do, however long it is. If there's nausea or a really heavy tiredness or a foggy mind, it's likely we've overdone it. In Ayurvedic terms, that's not a good idea. It means we've overstretched.
So Anne is getting a little bit frozen. So if maybe you can remove your video, turn your video off. Maybe that could help.
I mean, I don't know whether I can get back on here. Hide self view. No, stop video. Sorry about this, guys. It's our connection. If I press stop video,
that should be
that
better.
one.
Yes. So it was
Okay,
about
all right.
like.
I've still got 3 thumbnails.
If you can repeat the last
Can you
30 seconds, it will be good.
Before, you want me to go back one?
Yeah, for the last 20 seconds, we lost you.
Okay, all right. Successful fasting, is that what you want me to talk about?
Yeah, the last idea.
According to
yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the aim is to feel light in both body and mind at the end of it. Whatever type of fasting we do and however long we do it, we've got a clear mind as well. This is really important. It's not just the body. If there's nausea or a really heavy tiredness in the body or a foggy mind, it's likely we've overdone it. We've done too much and we're weakening the system. So it's really important that we watch this and we don't think, I've got to go through this. It's really important I finish it. That's not the way Ayurveda teaches it. Okay? Basically, according to Ayurveda, a strong digestive system is the root of good health. We have to have that to be in good health right through our lives. So it's worth caring about, basically. Okay? So when we're fasting, we're basically reducing our food intake, but it must be appropriate to things. It must be appropriate to our age, our physical condition, which might be good in whatever age we're in, but we really need to look at that. Normally, as we get older, our digestive system is less active. And the constitution that we have. I don't know how many of you have got some knowledge of Ayurveda. I'm not going to go into that detail, but I'm going to give you a little overview. So what we want to do is we want to rekindle our digestive fire. We call this Agni in Ayurveda, where we've got a fire, a furnace inside of us that burns our food up. It transforms to us. To get this done properly, so then the digestive fire has worked properly, there's only a little bit of ash remaining that the body can. If we don't do that, then what happens is that the ama or the unburnt food stays in the body, and this causes toxins. That's what makes it difficult for us. We get older and we start getting building up. It's basically the digestive system's at lack of it. Okay. Repeat the last 30 seconds. Oh gosh. Reducing our food appropriate to our age, our physical condition, and our constitution will help rekindle our digestive fire. We're okay now? And how important that is that we have a strong digestive fire. Are you all clear on that? I think I need a thumbs up if you've got it. I've got a picture of, just give me a thumbs up if you've heard it, and then I know whether I need to read it or not. Okay. I can go on. Right. Okay. Let me just move on. Fasts can be long or short. Depends on what you want to do and what's appropriate for you, as I've just said. So even during a short fast, it's very necessary to drink plenty of warm or room temperature water, which will flush out the toxins, because not only are we enlivening the system, enlivening digestive system, we're going to be throwing toxins out too. And we don't want those to linger in the body, because what happens then, they get more stuck in the tissues and don't release properly. It's harder to release them. So that water drinking is vital to a good fast. Is that clear? Is that okay? Thumbs up? Good. Okay, fine. I'll move on. Thank you. I've got 3 now. We don't often think about this one, but we do have a natural fasting period every day. That's why we eat breakfast in the morning. Okay? Not often we think about that one. So we're given this fasting at night, basically. We've got in nature, we've got strong daily cycles. Yeah, we've got night and day. We've got time. Sorry? Somebody unmuted. We've got time to rest and we've got time to play. So we naturally fast from 10 o'clock at night, which is the time Ayurveda says it's really good for us to go to bed, until at least 6 o'clock in the morning. It might be longer before we get breakfast, but we've got that long span where the body has time to digest properly at a different level. So Ayurveda also says that there are 2 periods of the day when there's more heat in the atmosphere and in ourselves too. There's more pitta, more fire there, yeah? One is from 10 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And this is the time when we need to eat our main meal of the day, because there's more heat around to help that transformation process happen. Is that good? It's clear? At night, it's a little different. The process is a little different. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. So using these times successfully and using this daily cycle successfully can make all the difference to our digestion. Just those 2 things alone, going to bed at a good, reasonable hour and not, and using these times as heat there to eat our meals. Make sense? Okay. Can I move on? A natural night fast. So digest at the gross level between 10 and 2 o'clock during the day with a good meal then. So that's the main goal. At night, it's just different. We're going to be digesting at a level. We've taken that food in and now it needs to get into the system. So a level of digestion is going on. So what happens if we snack in this night period? You know, I've done it, and probably you guys have done it as well. When you stay up after 10 o'clock and you get to 11 o'clock, 11:30, you think, I'm a bit peckish. Yeah, I'm going to need a little something. So you reach out for a snack bar. You might reach out for some fruit if you're lucky. That's a bit healthier. You might, pick up just what's around. What you're doing there is actually you're taking away that night fast. It's finished. You've taken food in and the body goes back to having to take the food in at a gross level. It's got to deal with that new food. So you're spoiling that effort of the system to be able to digest. Is that good? Makes sense? Some thumbs going up or not? Great. Okay. Right. So if I move on. So what simple. It doesn't have to be a big thing where we're going to stop everything for 10 days or so. Just choosing our food intake and modifying our diet is actually fasting. So if we say we're going to cut out bread and sugar for a day or two, we come away from our normal way of eating. Yeah, you can cut 2 meals a day. That's fine. Or take a mono diet food. I find it really good when I'm feeling a bit sharp in my digestion.
And it's breaking a little bit.
Yeah?
Yes, it's breaking a little bit. So if
you can see the screen though. Yeah.
Yes, but your voice is breaking a little bit. If you can ask everybody in the house to turn their Wi-Fi off, maybe that helps.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think mine's on my iPad, on my phone. I'll switch that off. Good idea. Airplane mode's on. Okay. See if that makes a difference.
Yeah, now it's better. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so sometimes I go onto a mono diet and I actually take rice, just a very soupy rice with a little bit of ghee in it and some ginger and maybe a little bit of cumin if I want to do. And I eat that for the day. And that's enough for me. And I do that fairly regularly. And that brings back that lightness. It brings back the hunger of being clearer in my digestive system. Just by doing that occasionally is very, very good. So it doesn't have to be anything too heavy. Yeah. Let me go on to the next slide. Where's it gone? Ooh, now I'm having a problem.
Is the mono diet twice a day?
You can do the mono diet is usually the same food all day. That's why I'm saying, you make it very simple food.
But is it 2 times a day? Or
well, 3 times a day, whatever you want, so that you don't go to. I'll explain about hunger in a minute. Let me get into that because that's an important part of this too. We can actually lengthen our natural fast by missing breakfast. That's another way of reducing our intake quite naturally, and then eat an early lunch. That's constituted as a fast. We've increased that time without food in our tummy. It helps that agni, that fire, come up again. Okay. Or we can take out certain foods for some days in each month. In the Vedic tradition, there's Ekadasha, where we cut out grains for a few days at either full moon or no moon. And that is a fast. That really helps the system too. And it's linking in with the lunar cycle again, which is an interesting way of doing it. Okay, I'll move on. Good. If you want to do more complex fasting over a specific time, we always recommend to have that under supervision of a healthcare specialist. In our tradition of Ayurveda, we're talking about panchakarma, where we're going to be using mostly khichdi for a number of days, but we do keep in touch with a doctor there when we're doing that, because we don't want to weaken ourselves. We can so easily do that. So we don't recommend doing a complex fasting without checking with a doctor first, unless you've got a really, really strong body type and you know your digestive fire is strong and you're at the right age. But be very careful, don't just run into it, because you can feel worse at the end, and it's counterproductive, as I've said. Okay, good. May I move on? Yeah, good. I like your notes at the bottom, Louis. Right, conditions for fasting. I've talked about our age and physical strength. and its condition and the condition of our body. Have we got any illnesses going on? Have we got any chronic illnesses there? Because once we start fasting, we're going to start removing toxins. And I've said it's really important that we can remove them properly. That's why any length of time of fasting is so important, that we can remove those toxins completely and not weaken again. The time of year is very good. Particular times of the year are very good for fasting. At the change of season, it's a great time to fast, because you know, when the season changes, our bodies wobble a little bit. We become a little bit destabilized, and that helps the body shift stuff out. It's not stuck in a pattern. It breaks that pattern that we're in, just very subtly. But it's always a very good time to do it. So we're in autumn time now. This is a great time to take a few days and just lighten the diet. It can be very, very effective. I was thinking, actually, with the Lenten, that was a very good one too, with the Catholic Church. Maybe they didn't know they were doing it from a Vedic angle. But again, it's the change of season. That 6 weeks before Easter is a time when things begin to melt in the atmosphere. The weather is warming through. In Canada, the deep ice we have is beginning to go. So there's this melting outside, and there's a melting inside too. The body begins to let go of stuff. So we encourage a little bit of fasting. That can help. You say, understanding what I mean? It's good. Yeah. So that change of season is just wonderful. The daily weather can affect us too. Don't do it when it's really, really cold and wet and windy. You don't do it very successfully then, or you take very good care of yourself that you don't get over cold or anything like that. Okay, I'm going to move down one. Make sure you've got some time to rest during a fast. Don't go pushing it. Don't try and work and fast. You know, if I do my 1 day fast of rice, liquid rice for the day, I cut back. I don't need to stop completely, but I don't take anything heavy on, and I get to bed early, and I keep a quieter day. I keep a quieter evening, and that really helps that fast work properly. Okay. During a longer fast, then rest is even more important. Now, our own constitution plays a big part in this. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I'll go into that in more detail. But each of us is so different, and we have different needs of ways to fast that are safe for us. And it's not advisable to fast during menstruation, because at that time, we ladies are very lucky that we're actually detoxing at that time as well as menstruating. So we don't want to put any more load on our system at that time. And obviously pregnancy and postpartum, times when a woman wouldn't fast, they don't need it. They need not to encourage detoxing at that time. Or in a recovery period after an illness. If we've had an acute illness, particularly, then we need to recover properly, and to add fasting at that time is not a good idea. You may have naturally fasted during that time, yeah? That you may have had a few days without food and you not like eating. So your body has taken care of you in the fact that it's given you a fast. So you don't need to put any more on. Is that good? Great. Okay. Now let's talk about our constitution. I don't want to go deep into the background of Ayurveda today and its building blocks of the doshas, because it's quite complicated and would take too much time. But what I can simply say to you is the following. Working on sort of three types of constitution, I'm just going to pick out some things about each one so you can see what I'm talking about and what it means to that type of body. So if you're of a light build and you tend to be cold, you love moving around and you're energetic, but you run out of steam fast, your energy doesn't stay up, and you can tend to be anxious when you overdo things, then regular fast of a day a month is sufficient for you. It's difficult for you to last for long periods. I'm getting an internet instability again. It's difficult to fast for long periods. That rings true with anybody of you, any of you, just bear that in mind, that is sufficient for you. Now, there's another type, basic type of person who's of a more medium build. They're neither too heavy or too light. They have a lot of heat in the system. They're hot-blooded. They have a sharp intellect and they love to organize. Any of you recognize these types or this quality in you? But you can be very irritated. Somebody there said yes. You can be irritated and angry or dictatorial when out of balance. Then twice a month is sufficient for you. And you know, this is because in the system, our digestive systems are very strong. Yeah, which means that we're going to make a lot of acid in our tummies. Yeah, which is good because it can be used, but it does mean it becomes very, very uncomfortable for a person to not eat. Anybody recognize that they find not eating or getting hungry really hard? They really feel it, and they get desperate for food because that's right. I can see one hand going up there, and that's because that acid needs to be used. So if you've got somebody in your family who gets irritable and maybe angry when they're hungry, you know what to do is get some food to them quickly, yeah, so that they can assuage that acidity in the stomach. Right, that's all it is. It's not they're angry because they're angry with you or anybody else. It's just they're uncomfortable, bless them. Okay, so I'm just there's one more body type as well that you may recognize. If you've got a strong, cold body frame, you love routine and you're contented with your lot, but tend to be sluggish and dull in mind and body when out of balance. Different scenario, again, different way of being completely. Then 1 day a week is actually good for you. You can go for it because you need that extra stimulus to enliven the fire in your system. It's very low, it burns very slowly, and sometimes it doesn't ignite properly. So you get that sluggishness and heaviness and feel you don't want really to do anything. So your digestive system really needs stoking up and getting going. And the best way of doing that is to cut your food back, because you're giving that system time to do it. Got the picture? Now, you may be a combination, what most of us are, of those three types. So what you need to watch out for there is look into your own system and see what's happening. Some people can have the heat and they can have a strong body. The heat may be just in their mind. It may not be in the digestive system, or their contentedness and sluggishness may be in the mind, it may not be in the body. So look at what's happening to yourself. And when you see these signs coming up, whatever basic one you are, then adapt it to what you need. If it's sluggishness and heaviness in the body, whatever type you are, you can do a little bit more fasting. And then when you come back to normal, you watch again. It's all about awareness of being able to understand who we are and what's happening to us. And Ayurveda is just wonderful for helping us do that. It can sound complicated at the beginning, but once you get into it, it makes very, very good sense. Okay, can I move on? Yeah, I'm getting some nods, great. Right, let's go on to this hunger business. I've been going on about that a bit for a while. So what I'm going to say is, what I'm going to put to you is, we have two basic instincts for survival. We have food and we have sex. Agreed? These are our basic instincts to be able to survive. So I'm going to leave sex out of that today. That would be a total subject on its own, I think. And we'll stick with the food. There's somebody in the waiting room. I've just done it, Louis. And my, oh, wait a minute, why is it not moving on?
Done, you can continue, yes.
Okay, right. So both of these can lead us into trouble. Did you agree on that one? Yeah, they can both be troublesome to us. Whoops. Oh, wait a minute, I've gone on too far. Beg your pardon. Can I go back? There's another one in the writing room as well. I've lost myself here. Right, so both can lead us into trouble. How many of us have procrastinated against fasting or never even allowed ourselves to be hungry for even a short period of time? Just look at yourself now and ask yourself that question. What does the feeling of hunger bring up in you? Does it bring fear up in you? Because if we don't eat, we die. And the fear of death is one of our biggest fears that we have. So it's linked to that if we look at it in a different light. Yeah, it's really important that we can ponder on that one a little bit. Okay. So what have I done? I've done something again. Wait a minute. Sorry about this. You can see it's my first time doing this. Sorry, Louis, I wish you were doing this, not me. Maybe I haven't got anything else on that screen. I think that's it. Yeah, right. Okay. There's nothing else added. I can move on. Is that all right? Okay. So this is it. What is hunger? Biologically, hunger is a signal to us that the stomach is ready to receive more food. It's empty, which means the whole digestive system can take more food. So if we're ever putting food in when that signal isn't there, we're overtaxing the system and we're causing toxins in it. That clear? Okay. Emotionally, it's quite a different story. How many of us have reached for sweet foods when upset or dissatisfied in life? I can see some smiles coming up on people's faces there. We do it, yeah, because it's a way of satisfying ourselves, but it's comfort eating, yeah, and it's causing a problem with the biological hunger. It's stopping that hunger being there at its proper level. Okay. So comfort eating has a lot to answer for, yeah, for ill health, basically. We need to look at it. What we can do is look at other ways of satisfying ourselves, whether music might help us satisfy ourselves instead of food. Food's the first thing we always turn to, but we could look at other things. We might like to take a beautiful walk. Sometimes even just drinking water or having a drink will help to satisfy. It might be lack of water in the system that can be making us hungry. It's worth trying that first before eating. Yeah, making sure we don't keep those little snacks in our handbag or in the bottom of our drawer in our office desk. This all helps us to remind us that, you know, it's not a good idea as far as our health is concerned. Okay. Or we can become habitual grazers if we're always comfort eating. Sometimes this can begin to happen. We eat between meals. We don't allow that hunger to develop. So we're weakening that digestive power again. It isn't able to build up a momentum to be able to digest properly. Is that good? We're all okay? Okay. Next one. I'm glad I had a PowerPoint, actually. It would have been a bit of a nightmare without. I'm not moving on. Why not? Oh, wait, yes, all right. Okay, safe and successful fasting. I thought we'd talk about this. So it really depends on us to understand how our body responds to being without food, even for a little while. This is really summing up all I've just talked about to you, about becoming aware of what's happening and our own constitution and where we're at that moment in time. And it's so important, again and again, I'll say this, we do not want to weaken our system. So besides knowing something about our constitution and how it works, we need to listen to what our system's telling us. This I'll go into a little bit more in a minute. And to take action, not just to listen and say, okay, righto system, you're not working very well, I'll go on carrying on what I'm doing. But to say, wow, okay, let's slow down a bit. Let's look at this. Maybe if I'm doing a fast and I'm getting some signals that it's uncomfortable, I'm either feeling very, very tired or very, very weak or grumpy. That can happen too. I was talking to, I'll just give you a little one here. I was talking to one of our people the other day, and she was saying, oh my gosh, she said, during Navaratri, my mum used to fast with the family, you know, when they were young, and it used to be for 9 days. And she said she used to faint and she used to get cranky and irritable and angry. She said it was the most awful time, not a joyful time at all. And she realized that it was because she was overdoing it. It was too much for her. Her body type wasn't able to take it. So it's really, really important that we understand this. Okay, it's good. And it can be so uncomfortable, not just for yourself, but for everybody else around you as well. Yeah. Okay. So what I said I'd talk about as well is weight loss, because with fasting, this is something that plays a big part. So we obviously are very aware that there's many ways to lose weight on the market. We're always picking up ways of doing it. And I picked up that the growth prediction for 2024 worldwide market is going to be about $269 billion US. That's how much people are wanting to get into weight loss, which is a worry really from an Ayurvedic point of view, because it means too many people are overweight in the first place. So we're not particularly healthy. So if I give you an example, if a friend comes to you looking trim and perky, and before that she was a little bit overweight and not looking so good, she enthuses about the diet she's been on. We've all had this happen, yeah? So you buy into it. And what does it do to you? Makes you tired and cranky. It works for her, but it doesn't work for you. Okay, so that's not a good system for your weight loss. It doesn't suit your constitution. So basically, we have to get to know our bodies and minds so we can tailor a program to bring the optimum result for ourselves. Okay, good. I'm going to move on. Right, I wanted to talk to you about DEEPAK Chopra's view on weight loss, because he's got a beautiful book called Perfect Health, which he goes into Ayurvedic background too, but he's got such a sensible approach to weight loss, and it may surprise you this. When we look at weight loss methods from an Ayurvedic perspective, this is his own words, we see the missing ingredient is the knowledge of who we really are and the intimate connection between our minds and bodies. Okay. Dr. Chopra makes it very clear that we cannot totally trust our senses when making decisions about our food intake. Yeah, our senses pull us outwards. They take us to the object. They take us to, for me anyway, now living in France for the past 18 months, it takes me into the boulangerie and the croissants. Yeah. So I'm having to watch my waistline a little bit living over here. Be a bit careful, which is a shame because they're delicious. So we can create a satisfaction meter for ourselves. If you go into his book, he has a meter there of 1 to 8 on our satisfaction level of our digestive system at any one time. How is it when we're actually eating? What satisfaction are we getting from our food? When we think we've finished eating, has the feeling of hunger gone? And so it builds up until we're over full. We're looking at a satisfaction level of being overfull and uncomfortable. But we don't take notice of this, and to have this spelled out for us is really, really useful. And as I pointed out before, undigested food turns into toxins very quickly. It isn't eliminated. It doesn't produce that nice little bit of ash at the end of the day that can then be eliminated through our bowels. Okay. And then these points from his book I found so interesting as well. Dr. Chopra tells us dieting isn't necessary. It causes strain, which is counterproductive. Just think about that one for a minute. It's a big statement. We don't need to diet as such. Instead, allow our hunger levels and awareness of comfort and discomfort, both prior, during, and after eating to develop. Interesting, yeah? What he would say that. If we have low hunger signals, Dr. Chopra's guidance is to only eat when hungry, even if it means eating in the middle of the night. We break that rule of no night eating because we need to reset our digestive system. And this is one of the approaches he had. And he said for most people, within a few weeks, the body's own innate intelligence will swing the eating habit to a more normal routine. If it doesn't happen, if you tried this and it doesn't happen for you quickly, you can coach it into coming back to the 3 meals a day or whatever. But it's a very good way of going about it. So self-referral is the key to your ideal weight. Okay. Object referral, which the senses do, is full of potential untruths for your own health. Yeah, because we're not referring inside. So for an example, if you're object referring to beautiful models that you see wearing clothes that look wonderful and you think, oh, I want to look like that, that might not be your body type. You might not be made like that. And to try and get down there is not a good idea because it's not who you really are, and you're not referring to yourself, you're referring to something outside. Yeah. And then I've just put there the reading reference. If you want, you can pick these books up from online. It's Perfect Weight by Dr. DEEPAK Chopra. It's a really, really good read, and it's full of loads of good information if you want to go down this road. You can always contact us too if you want any help in weight loss. It is a big problem these days with people, even for children, actually. Children now tend to be overweight too. We're bombarded with so much food in our sugars. If we don't eat a good diet ourselves, then and we buy foods in, most of them are sugar laden, and sugar's addictive. So if we can get rid of sugar in our diet, we're doing ourselves a great favor. And the carbohydrate content too is important, is not to overdo the carbohydrate diet. We need some obviously for roughage, but not to eat, eating more vegetables and fruit and grains and things like this and nuts are great. Actually, to follow a diet for diabetes, for people who've got diabetics, that's a very good diet. It's very balanced. And it doesn't put weight on, and they can't afford to have too much sugar in the system, obviously. So there you go. That was that's all my ramblings about fasting and weight loss. Do put in the chat any questions you have. I'd now like, though, to introduce Pooja to you, who is out in Edmonton. We're going to move over there, and Pooja's going to show us this evening. Pooja actually is one of our OR teachers. She's now teaching online. We're moving the OR course to online. And just it's the Art of Wholesome Eating course. Let me tell you just about that. Sorry, Pooja, just for a minute or two. We have this course that really explains very simply, in simple terms. It's how many hours is it online, Pooja?
it's 6 hours 2 days and 3 hours 1 day, so it's like a deep dive Ayurveda cooking course. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So we do this online. I'm going to bring my picture on now too, because we don't need to do that. And the next one coming up actually is on the 22 to 24th of October. That is given by another of our teachers who's out in Palo Alto in California. This is online, so any of you can join wherever you are. And I haven't given you much information about constitutions for those of you who are new to Ayurveda, but it really helps you get those basic principles in, so it becomes very easy to understand.
Yeah, this course.
Yeah, this course does that. So it's an adjunct to what I'm telling you today. It fits in really, really well with the talk on fasting. Okay, so Pooja is you're going to show us what today? What's your menu?
I'm showing you a very interesting recipe. I'm showing you a smoothie today, and maybe I should focus on the ingredients, but I'll just say that was a lovely talk, Anne, and I'm honored to share the stage with you. And I see a lot of people here who probably already know me from some previous talks, and now recipe is an interesting time. So are you all excited for the recipe? Show me a thumbs up. Yay, okay. So we are going to do a very healthy smoothie. Let me show you the ingredients first of all, and then later on we will do the smoothie for a more airy person, a vata person, for a more fiery person. So the same recipe, we can change it for a vata type or a more fiery constitution, or even a person that is more earthy and kapha type. So the same recipe can be tweaked for any of the constitutions. But it's a great recipe, full of nutrients, full of power, keeps your hunger satisfied, a great fasting recipe also. And I will just go and show you all the ingredients right here. Okay, can you see the ingredients? Yes. Okay, so I have a celery. I've taken a celery. The main ingredients are celery. Celery is full of fiber, and it is very good for digestion, anti-cholesterol. It helps us in helps in easing the bloating, and even for any digestion issues. Next I have is apple. Apple is very seasonal. I have an apple tree right in front of my house full of apples. I've been eating apples every day. And apple is just full of all phytochemicals. It has like so many healing properties because of that. And it's also a great source of probiotic. So you don't need to have a probiotic capsule. You can get it all from the food. And it's like so much in season. The outside seasonal food goes inside our tummy. So the outside microbes meet our tummy microbes, like I meet my sister when I go back to India after 1 year, and I'm so happy. And in the same way, the microbes are so happy when they meet the microbes in the gut. So this is what I'm adding. And super food, avocado. That's what I'm going to add. Why do we call it superfood? Anybody want to unmute and say any properties about avocado? Okay, avocado has, did you know it has more potassium than a banana? It's full of all B vitamins, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6. We have here vitamin E, good for our skin. Vitamin K, it has the iron, the folate, omega-3, zinc, copper, just whatnot. And also has It helps in increasing the good cholesterol, the HDL. So very good fat, good source of good fat. And if we are using a fresh avocado instead of avocado oil, I mean, what better can we do? Now, in terms of avocado and lemon, always lime or lemon always go together. In Ayurveda, lime is used more than the lemon. It has more alkaline properties, if anything. Next, I have here, I have taken a herb. Anybody wants to guess the name of the herb? You can put it in the chat and Louis can read it out to me. That's a thyme. So very good when we are getting into change of season. When we get into change of season, what we see is we get into the flu season. Typically, when there's a change of season, we are getting into the winter time, and thyme is very good for our respiratory health. It's good for digestion. And I'm just going to be using very little bit of thyme in the recipe. Also adds good flavor to the recipe. I also have taken some microgreens, some alfalfa, and feel free to touch the ingredients with your hands. Your hands only have good bacteria. Never to be scared to use your hands while cooking. Now I have for you the dry ginger. Just going to use a little bit of dry ginger in there. Ginger is very big in Ayurveda. It has medicinal properties, and dry ginger has more medicinal properties than the organic fresh ginger. I mean, to name some: anti-gas, anti-bloating. It's good for cough and sinus and digestion. Good in motion sickness, good in nausea, and just so many other things. It's called like the Maha Oshadhi, like the biggest medicine, also called the Vishva Oshadhi in Ayurveda. Vishva Oshadhi meaning global medicine. So highly revered in Ayurveda. Always have dry ginger powder in your spice rack. I always have it. I use fresh ginger too, but dry ginger is very, very good. Now I'm also using a little bit of turmeric. Turmeric, we all know, has the curcumin and has the antiviral, antibacterial, anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory properties. And if anything, if you people have heard of the blue zone is the place where people live for over 100 years and they live happily, and they use a lot of turmeric in their recipes. So use turmeric for sure. Now, I also have here some dates that I'm using to add the sweetness, and we'll go over which constitution should have the dates and who shouldn't have the dates. Dates, again, very good iron-rich food, natural sugar, so it won't poke up your, the glucose levels. If anybody is diabetic, even then they can have little bit of dates in there. I also have here some cilantro. And cilantro is, if you've seen, a lot of Ayurvedic recipes have like cilantro sprinkled on top of it. Very good for fighting infections, actually, fighting diseases. It has antimicrobial properties. It is also good for detox. It pulls the toxins out of the system. Even the heavy metals, it can pull out of the system. So very good for detox. We often make the chutney, the sauces with cilantro, and we're just adding a little bit of this to our recipe today. Also helps with our anxiety issues And of course, it has the green, so gives you all the green, the greens in there. Now I have this heavy blender, and I am going to be adding, I've just cut up all these ingredients. I am going to be putting them in here. Just switch the light on so you can see better. And yeah, I did tell you about the lime, yes. So I am going to add the celery in there. I have already chopped off. And the avocado and the lime go really well. So I'm just squeezing half a lemon. I have taken half of the apple. I have taken 1 stalk of celery. I am going to be taking just half of the avocado. So I am adding half the avocado. If somebody wants to add the full, they could, more for Vata people to get more heaviness in there. I'm adding just a little bit, just the leaves of thyme in there. Very good for respiration, very good for lungs. I don't want to add too much turmeric, just a pinch of turmeric. And for my ginger, just this much, maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon. You could go up to 1/4 of a teaspoon. You could also use fresh ginger. It's totally fine. Have I left out anything? Yeah, a little bit of salt to perk up the taste. So just a pinch of salt. Celery also has the salt. We have to keep that in mind. So we don't need to add too much salt in here. And now maybe if you want to, Louis, unmute me because I'm going to start the blender and it's going to get noisy in here.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Even I'm going to be trying this recipe for the first time, and I'll let you know how it tastes. So I have these smoothie mugs. These are the Halloween ones. And it has all the fiber. It is not juiced, and fiber is so good for our system. Very good for gut health, very good for gut microbiome. And if you haven't read the book, Fiber Fueled by Dr. Will Beed, that's like a must read. It's a New York Times bestseller. He talks about how good fiber is for gut health. And I am going to taste it. Too sad that I cannot make you taste it. And I will tell you how exactly it tastes. And you have to look at my face for that. This is so delicious. And now, how are we going to change the same recipe for a more earthy person, for a kapha person, for a heavy built person? So for that person, we need to add a little more lemon. We can add a little bit of pepper to it. And if the person does good with green chilies, we can even add just a tiny bit of green chilies, depending on their taste, of course, if they can take it or not. So this is how we can pork up the kapha person. We can delete the dates from there because we don't need to give them too much sugar. So we can make it more of a salty smoothie, and it can even be used actually as a dressing. So if you don't want to have it as a smoothie, maybe if you want to have it as a dressing on top of the salad, you can even do that. But I'm going to make that for my husband, who's a kapha person. And now that I have shown you my jacket, my pitta is getting activated in me, and I need to take off my jacket. And this is how I'm adding the black pepper for my husband. And he likes good amount of black pepper in there. I'm adding a little more lemon juice. Well, the dates are already in here. I cannot take them out. But if I was purely making for him, I would not put the dates. And he likes it spicy. So I'm adding just teeny bit of green chili in there. And
Pooja?
yeah.
We have quite a lot of questions coming up in chat, and we've gone over the hour, so I don't know how much time people have.
I think we are done with the recipe, and you can go ahead with the questions.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Just one thing I'd like to mention about smoothies is in the West, smoothies are always associated with ice. You always have ice smoothies, and they're death for the digestion. Okay, we either have them warm temperature or even slightly warm. Don't go into ice smoothies, whatever you do. It's horrible, right? Okay, there's just that one point there. Thank you, Pooja. That was a really good demonstration. I think you gave us a lot of knowledge. Wonderful. We're all clapping.
I forgot to add the ice in there. You could add the ice in there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ice. No, ice. Sorry, did you say ice?
Ice.
No.
Oh, you don't have to. Okay.
No, because it kills the digestive system. Yeah.
Right.
Room temperature or warm. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's because of your pitta. I can see, give me ice, cool me down.
I thought you said I have to use the ice, so know.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll go on to the questions. Shall I just pull them up on screen, Louis, and go through them? I think it might be quicker. Yeah. Okay. Binesha, hi. Nice to see you from Montreal.
Yeah.
Mono diet, yes, it can be for the whole day, depending on how many meals you take. Yeah. Okay. Or if you do 2 meals and want to finish it with something else in the evening, if your body says you've had enough, you've had enough. Yeah. It really depends on you, how much you want to do. Direct message. Can a child age 7 have a fruit fast for a day, or would it be too much? I think it's too much unless they really enjoy fruit. I wouldn't force kids into it unless they really want it. Won't do them any harm if they're really up for it and they just love fruit. But not fasting for children isn't really necessary. Can you please show the previous page? Somebody said. Hopefully we did. Kristin said she's going to make the smoothie for breakfast tomorrow, so that's great. Amisha, hi. You're in Montreal as well, huh? For the smoothie, isn't it a good idea to put just a pinch of pepper whenever you add turmeric? Yes, yeah, that is a good point, Amisha, that pepper helps turmeric to digest better. Thank you, that's great. Okay. If we want to unmute a minute, if anybody's got any more questions, I can take them.
I have a question. Anne, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Is it okay to mix vegetables and fruits in the smoothie? And also, I've heard some Ayurveda people say that it's best to have like cooked food even for breakfast, like oatmeal. And is it okay to have? Because I've tried smoothie like that before, and after a while, it doesn't really satisfy me, I find.
Yeah, it depends on your appetite and your hunger levels, whether it's getting satisfied or not. You can take fruit and vegetables in as raw foods. That's okay because all the intrinsic value is there of each of them. But you have to look. I mean, some of us can digest and some people can't. It depends on the strength of our digestive system. If it's not working for you and you're getting gas and bloating at the end of it, then don't do it. We have to observe what's happening in the body.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Be aware all the time. Yeah, don't let up. It's a big job.
Thanks.
Okay.
I had one question. Thank you, Pooja and Anne. That was a great presentation. In this recipe, is it okay to add like things like carrots or beets? And, is there any issue with combining that with any of the other ingredients?
Can you just say that again for me?
Yeah, sorry. The question was, in this recipe that Pooja just demonstrated, is it okay to combine things like carrots or beets, or is there any issue combining those ingredients with what was included in the recipe?
No, I think that would be too much. It will get too complicated for your system. Don't make recipes too complicated. Usually three major ingredients are enough. With any meals, if we have 3 vegetables, that's enough. If we have one thing we always talk about is 7-grain bread. It's horrible for the digestive system. Take 1 grain bread because they're difficult to digest. The more difficult it is to digest, the simpler the food should be, basically. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, Anna, what you just said I found really interesting. So you said only 3 or 4 types of food per meal. So it doesn't.
Well, if you're taking vegetables, don't take more than 3 in the meal. You can combine root vegetables. It depends on your body type, what you take, whether you take root vegetables or a mixture with leafy vegetables, or you want more leafy vegetables because you need to lighten up. It depends. Okay. So it's the same with protein, really. Don't mix too many proteins together. Don't go for beans and maybe a burger or something like that. It's too much to digest.
I see.
It's too heavy. Yeah.
And if we have multiple different types of leafy greens, are they just one type of that's like if it's kale and arugula, is that considered 1 or 2?
Is this Sveta talking?
It's Amisha talking. This is just saying
questions I'm asking you.
Yeah. No, again, don't go. Each one has got its own qualities, so don't mix too many together.
Okay.
But again, what's your own system?
If we are cooking them all together, it should be okay. But raw, we should be careful, I guess, right, Anne?
No, I think raw is sometimes easier for people than cook for pitta people particularly, they can do it. I know with salads, everybody laughs at me because I warm my salad in the winter, particularly. I can take them raw in the summer, but in the winter, I actually just allow them to wilt with the dressing on in a pan and get it warm. And then I can digest. It's like having a stir fry salad, but it works. You know, I'm adapting for my body type. Yeah.
I have one more question, Anne. You said like with a change of season, it's good to do fasting, and that every change of season there is something coming out of our system. So right now, what would be that? You said something like that, like our body's getting rid of things.
Yes. Yeah. We're going into, well, we're all into fall now, aren't we? I presume the leaves are dropping like mad in Canada, if not already gone. And there's chill coming in the air. Yes, it's a good time again. We've got that wobble in our system, so we can do a little fast, but keep warm. You know, you're going into a cold season, so make sure everything is warm, that you keep warm, you take warm drinks, you don't take anything cold into your system, you don't let that fire go down. Yeah, you keep it up. So warm water is much better than cold water. Okay, in the hot summer, then room temperature water is obviously better. And if you've got Puja's high pitta, you might want to put a little bit of ice in it between meals, never with the meal. Okay, good.
Can I ask one thing? The DEEPAK, Dr. DEEPAK Chopra slides, you showed two of them. On the first one, I don't know if we missed the last point in the first slide of Dr. DEEPAK Chopra. Yeah. Is it possible to bring that up, please?
Yes, let me see. I don't know where. I'll have to share screen again.
Or you can just read out the last point in Dr. DEEPAK Chopra's first slide. You had two slides on the Dr.
Just,
DEEPAK.
If you can all bear with me, give me a minute, yeah?
Sure.
Is this the one? No, it's the one before that, yeah? The first slide.
It's still...
Should go back. I've got to go back like that, okay. This one. Oh yes, right, yeah. We talked about the satisfaction meter, but that one didn't come up, I think. A trick is to place our hands on our stomachs after eating. We can all do this, whether we want to diet or not. It helps the awareness, yeah? It helps us put attention on the fullness in the stomach. We take our attention down there if our hands are there. It's a good point. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, cheers. All right. Anything else?
Hi, Anne. Actually, I just had one question about the leafy greens.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say with pitta, the raw greens is okay, but for vata, the cooked is a little bit better? Or?
Yes. Yeah, pitta has got that heat in the system. Yeah. It's got plenty of fire there, so it can digest well. So even for kapha, it's good to warm, particularly in the winter, because that's a cold dosha too. People who have got a lot of heaviness in the body tend to have a sluggish digestion. Their fire isn't there. Yeah, the fire comes from that heat in the body.
Right. Okay, good. So for kapha, also heated. Possibly.
Yeah. Okay. Try it and see. It's not as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah, I'm pitta, or pitta vata really, but eating cold salad I've never really enjoyed. It's hard for me to get enough greens.
Yeah, no, just wilting is great because you're not spoiling the the vitamin content then.
Right.
Okay. Greens. Yeah, nice to see you, Kristen.
Fasting.
Ah, you too.
Okay. Any other questions?
Can I just share something quick with everybody? Is that we were talking about the greens in the smoothie, and something Dr. Priti told me that I could do for my smoothies was I'm vata, and she said to put like the kale leaves in hot water or warm water to get the air out of the leaves, and then you can put it into the smoothie. So I don't know what you think of that, Anne, but I just wanted to share that with everybody.
That's absolutely great. You're doing exactly the same thing. You're wilting the vegetable and taking the air and space out of it, which makes perfect sense for us vata types, yeah? Great, thank you for sharing that, it's wonderful. Yeah, got another thumbs up there on that one. Yeah. All right, okay. Anybody else before we sign off? No, okay, then I'd just like to thank Sri Sri Tattva for hosting us for this event. We're giving 2 a month actually. We have a cookery one at this time of the month, and then we have a mother and a baby one at the end of the month. So we'll keep you informed on when they're coming up. We will send you a recording, and Pooja will send you the recipe for this little smoothie, so you have that too. Okay. Okay, nice to see you, Ela and Dash.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for joining. I've enjoyed being with you, and I'm glad the internet didn't break down completely for me and we got through. All right, okay. So hopefully see you again sometime. Lots of love. Bye.